Now, this is my 1995 Proton Satria that I bought off from Facebook Marketplace, silent scene at another country. 1 year in, more than $30,000 out of my pocket, trying to rebuild the whole thing. It's now pushing 337 wheel horsepower and it weighs just under 1,000 kilos. These cars are pretty much non-existent in Australia, hence why I chose to buy it at another country. Even then, really clean examples, they rarely come up. So when these popped up on a marketplace, I knew I have to have it. Without looking at the car personally, I just paid him a deposit and hoped for the best. Now, after picking up the car, drive it around for 4 weeks, the engine actually blew up. So essentially, I just got scammed on Facebook Marketplace. Now, I'm a huge Mitsubishi fan and I've owned a few different models on this same platform. I had a Evo 2, I had a wagon version of this car, and I had a CC GSR with a 4G63 swapped that I just couldn't get it to run. Now, with a bit of history, the Proton Satria is actually originally called Mitsubishi Mirage in Japan, Mitsubishi Code in some other countries, and it came out from 1991 to 1995 with several different variations to the model, and it actually rivaled the EG Honda Civic. Now, the desirable version is actually called the Cyborg R, and it came with the 1.6 liter MyVac. Now, MyVac being Mitsubishi's version of the VTEC. Now, the original JDM Cyborg R, they are really rare, and there's barely any information on the internet, no matter how hard I find, so I wouldn't know like the production numbers. Now, obviously, they are not a mainstream success like the Honda Civics, and even then, they rarely come up on the Japanese auctions. So now, during this time, Proton had a joint venture partnership with Mitsubishi, and it gave Proton the license to actually produce their CC Lancer chassis all the way from 1993 all the way to the early 2000s. The sedan version being the Proton Wira, the Coupe Proton Putra, and the hatch Proton Satria. Now, the Satria produced anywhere from 1994 to 2005 with 4 engine configurations: 1.3, 1.5, 1.6, and the 1.8. And the final and the best version of the Satria is the GTI model that came with a tuned suspension with Lotus, wide body, and the mighty 1.8 liter 4G93 with dual overhead cams. Now, this car, it didn't start off that way, right? It started as a 1995 model year with the 1.6 liter 4G93 single overhead cam, box standard, and it's automatic, and it went through an entire transformation. Now, the only thing that is original on this car is probably the chassis. Now, the front and rear end has been swapped to a JDM Cyborg R. Now, it's running a fully built 4G93 from a CC GSR with 272 cams, TD0523G turbo. Now we tune it and it's pushing out 337 wheel horsepower. With a standard GSR gearbox locked to front-wheel drive, Evo 5 lower control arms, Evo 3 brakes, BC coilovers, and aftermarket pillow top camber mounts. So now, one thing about traction is I learned that it's not just about tires. It's a lot to do with like the suspension setup, and that's why I opted in for like the camber tops and the Evo 5 lower control arms. Previously, when I was running stock GSR suspension setup, it handled horribly. Even no matter what kind of tires that I put in, I wouldn't get traction for like the first and second gear. Now, after I dialed in the suspension, first, second gear, like the traction is a lot better, and now it's actually more drivable. Now, going into the interior, like the whole interior is actually not stock, and it has been swapped with the Evo 3 interior because like the stock interior doesn't look like this. And one cool thing is like they actually managed to swap the digital climate control, but unfortunately the climate control, it doesn't work, right? We can literally just turn it on and off and adjust the fan speed. That's about it, right? We couldn't see the screen at all. It's all like burnt up, and most of the buttons, it doesn't work, and it's always on the coldest settings. Now, in case if you find these seats familiar, they are actually Honda S2000 seats. I think it looks awesome on this car. I got a name for this car. The name is Pap. Pap as in rice in Korean. And because when I had this car, I also had a Audi A6 at the time, and that Audi A6 was black. So black and white, it looks like gimbap. And the Audi, I would name it Kim, and this car I will name it Pop. And also Pop also means cooked grain rice, and if you take a single cooked grain rice, it sort of looks like that as well. So I think the name is really fitting. Now unfortunately I couldn't get a picture of them together because the Audi will always be in the shop, and at the time Pop it's getting its engine rebuilt, and once this car was back on the road, I've since then sold the Audi, so I couldn't get a picture together, but I still kept the name for this car, Pop, and I think this name suits this car really well. So yeah, like, let's go for a spin. Now that was an awesome drive, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Now I really thought about putting a quad exhaust, so that way it's easier to drive, but I don't drive this car every day, so it's not really an issue. Now I originally wanted to actually film me driving while talking into the camera, but you just wouldn't hear me over the exhaust. When I'm driving on the highway above 100 km per hour, the drone is actually pretty bad, and after a few hours of driving, like, your ears actually hurts. But I guess that adds into the experience of owning one of these cars. Now the future plans for this car, now I do want to bring it into a track, and I want to prepare this car for a racetrack, so that way I can not only drive this car occasionally on the street, it'll predominantly be a street car, but occasionally I want to bring it into a track as well and have that experience. So with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now if you like this video, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, share it with your friends. Now it will really help to grow out this channel, and I really appreciate it. So until then, I will see you on the next video.